G'day guys, David here from the Xylem Zone. I want to go over with you today 2 key points that can really hold you back and stop you even getting into the game if you haven't got them in place, if you're trying to buy your own home or an investment property. Let's say it's your own home. If you're going out there, you've been saving a deposit, you've been building your income. If you don't have these other 2 things in place, you're going to be stopped in the tracks and you're not going to be able to go any further. So I'm going to go through those tips. I'm going to go through and outline what those things are and then give you some tips of what you can follow to get them in place, and also just highlight how we help people to do that as well. So what am I talking about? Well, let's go back and just get a bit of context first. In the last few years, there's been some massive shake-ups in our world economy. GFC beforehand, a few years ago we had a fairly big global recession, and then there was a really big knockdown on the banks, and there was a Royal Commission because there's a lot of people that defaulted on their loans under mortgage stress and couldn't pay. And then the banks were then held accountable in regard to how come these people had these loans that they couldn't repay. Now, there was a big investigation and that was on the press. You probably would have seen it. As a result of that Royal Commission, a lot of things changed. Banks have then got much stricter in regard to who they will lend money because there's a level of risk they continue. What's the risk they consider? You are a risk in their books. The market is a risk in regard to the economy and what's going on. The property you're buying will have a level of risk. The area you're buying will have a level of risk. And obviously the postcode as well and what that represents in the area as well. So there's a level of risk that the bank looks at with every single person, asset, property market they're considering. Now what's their goal? Their goal is to make money and reduce risk. That's what the banks are going to do on their side. So what's happened of recent times is the banks have been really strict in assessing the average person, and also they put buffers in place. So if you had an interest rate that was, say, 4%, the bank would calculate your repayments at 8%. This is the bank's buffer, and they treat it at that higher rate. They also sit down and look at basically your living expenses as well, and they increase over the top of those or put an assessment in that may be the same as yours or a lot more to reduce how much they lend you to minimize their risk. So all these things are going on, and it's really been hard in the last few years, and they've forced a lot of people to go on a principal interest repayments, so they're paying down more debt. Now, I'm not making a comment on whether it's good or bad, that's just the way it's been. Now, off the back of this COVID situation, banks are starting to ease up. The ACCC and APRA really cracked down on the banks, but now the economy's in trouble, so we want to get people back into the marketplace. So here's the catch. Here's the catch. The bank's interest rates have dropped, so your borrowing power has gone up. The reality is the banks are more willing to lend you more money because the reality is they want to make money. They've got shareholders. The government wants the economy moving again. They can't provide the housing by themselves, so they need you to be buying a house, or people out there that are investing as well. So they want to do that, but at the same time, they don't want to get caught out by lending money again and then getting a big smack on the wrist. So the 2 things you have to have in place before you even go to the bank is you've got to have clear goals. They want to know, what is your plan? What are you wanting to do? What are you wanting to achieve? And they want to have an idea of that, so that's also going to minimize the risk because it's showing that you're taking some responsibility and you're planning. The second thing they want to have in place is a money management plan. Now, what's a money management plan? Well, that's going to include a budget, and it's also going to look at debt reduction. It's going to look at your debt position as well, especially your bad debt, and obviously your savings. Now, if you don't have any clear goals, if you don't sit down and have a money management plan, you're going to be in a position where you'll get declined from even getting a loan before you start. So your deposit can be there, your income can be there, but the bank wants these things in place before they lend you the money. Now, let's face it, 2% of the population write goals, 2% seem to have the money, the rest don't seem to write goals. Most people, probably only about 2%, have a budget as well. So if you're one of those people that don't naturally write goals, naturally have a budget, this is something you've got to get used to or get done to help you get the loan to get your home. Now, we spend a lot of time in the Xylem Zone in the first 3 to 6 months helping people get a situation to do purpose-driven goals. Not just goals to buy stuff, but goals to create the life you want. And then we sit down and work out a money management plan, a fast budget that takes a hell of a lot less than going through every item, and also a debt reduction plan to get rid of bad debt, and also another way to accelerate your savings so you can get into the position to build your deposit, get rid of bad debt, maximize your income, and have a clear plan. And then, of course, we sit down and help people understand the different strategies and options they have. The bottom line is whether you're working with us or whether you're going independently, if you go to any banking institution, you're going to have your goals and your money management plan in place. And again, if we can help you do that to go forward and make it a bit easier, it's going to save you years, it's going to save you time, it's going to save you a lot of risk, and it's going to give you really clear insight to where you want to go, what you're doing. You're going to feel in control, you're going to have good safety buffers, and you're going to know what to do regardless of what happens in the world. And hopefully it's all about creating the life you want, one with less stress, one with more fun, one with quality time with family and good health, and making a bit of a difference on the planet. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Anyway, that's David from the Xylem Zone. Hopefully that's been useful to give you a bit more background, and I look forward to catching up soon. Bye for now.